Okay, right, I've just finished it, but I originally set a warning for the start. Yes, this is my voice. The starting is very awkward. It is very awkward. I'm recording this on my iPad, so the quality is absolutely amazing. It really is top notch. I'd skipped over a few parts, so sorry if you don't fully understand. I tried to include everything that needed to be, but I didn't really want it to be that long. But this story is really amazing. I'll leave a link below. I can't remember who wrote it. So yeah, this does contain some topics. It's got some death in it and a sort of self-suicide. I just encourage you to watch it. I don't know how long this is. I've got so many files that I need to download back onto my iPad, but it'll be fine. I've finished it now, and before Halloween as well, which is great. When Ink got a call from Error, he stopped everything and gave it his full attention. Error had never called him unless something was horribly wrong. "What's going on?" Ink said immediately. Something, everyone is... came Error's hushed reply. "Where are you?" Ink asked urgently. "Underfell," Error said, but Ink didn't wait for Error to finish. He opened a portal and jumped through. He was not prepared for what he saw. Error looked scared. As Ink surveyed the scene, looking at piles of dust, Ink understood. The most disturbing thing was the motionless human body. What happened?" Ink asked in a quiet voice. I don't know," Error admitted, but Frisk's body was still warm. This was recent. Are there any survivors?" Ink stammered. Error shook his skull. "None that I could find within half of an hour." Ink swallowed hard and gazed around again. He spotted a lifeless golden flower near Frisk. Whatever had done this hadn't even spared the soulless thing. "What could have done this?" Ink whispered. "I don't think I want to know," Error said gravely. Ink's phone buzzed again. "Blue?" He answered it, dread welling up inside him. "Hey, help me!" came Blue's terrified, hushed voice. Ink had put him on speaker and turned the volume to max just to hear him. "He's looking for me. He already ate everyone else's soul. I don't want to be next." If Ink and Error could have gone pale, they would have gone 10 shades paler. As it was, they opened a portal and ran to their friend. When Blue convinced Error to take him home, he had been given the glitchy's word that he wouldn't try to destroy his AU again. So it came a cold shock when he came out of his house and heard people screaming in terror. At first, Blue was confused. Who was everyone running from? Why were they so freaked out? As this thought came, an arrow embedded itself in the ground by Blue's feet. Suddenly, it was a rain of magical missiles. Blue dove back inside again and peered out through his window, watching as everyone fell to the ground. But they didn't die. That wasn't their attacker's intent. Soon, everyone was pinned down, unable to get up. Crunch! Someone was walking through the snow. It sounded like they'd dropped down from somewhere. From the tree line on the other side of Snowdon, a yellow-clad skeleton wearing a crown appeared. He looked calm, but there was something disturbing about him. The stranger approached the monster nearest to him. "Little Asriel," the child whimpered, and with the town being otherwise silent, Blue could hear it clearly. Don't hurt me," the boy whimpered. "Please." The stranger only brought the boy's soul from his body. Blue gasped. "That shouldn't be possible. All the thoughts evaporated when the strange skeleton brought the soul to his mouth and ate it. One bite, and it was gone, as Rio turned to dust. The arrows holding him down vanished. Blue watched in horror as the stranger went from terrified monster to terrified monster and devoured their souls. Oh God, Blue suddenly thought, where's Pappy? Oh, please let him be in bed. For one time, Blue wants him to be there. Sans? Blue sighed in relief. Papyrus was just waking up. What was all that screaming? The lazy skeleton asked. Suddenly, he was on edge. Was it the human? Or error? Shh! Blue said frantically. It's neither! I don't know who, but... Leave those monsters alone, you disgusting... Alfies? Blue squeaked. Oh no, Pappy, listen to me. That thing is out there. It's eating monsters' souls. Alfie's going to die. We need to help her. Papyrus was on his feet within an instant. That was 5 minutes ago. Now, Blue was hiding in the shed, with the door locked from the inside, praying the monster wouldn't get in. He could hear him walking around and around the building, muttering about being hungry. Blue had called in just a few seconds ago. Hopefully he'd make it soon. If I break the window, can you boost me up? Blue held his breath. Who is he talking to? A moment of silence before he whined. But Nighty, I'm hungry. Who the hell was Nighty? After a moment, the monster sighed. Oh, alright. The sound of retreating footsteps came through the walls. Blue breathed. Smash! Blue screamed as the yellow stranger threw himself through the window, a window that was far above everyone's head. He landed in a crouch in front of Blue, his bright, pretty yellow highlights full of crazed hunger. Your soul, he said in a friendly manner. Or I can keep chasing you all day. Blue summoned one of his blasters. Come one step closer and I'll blast you. The stranger laughed. In an instant, a bow was in his hands, and an arrow of blue energy was knocked into its string. Come on, Sans, it's not that hard. Just give it to me. You wouldn't let someone starve, would you? Blue blasted him and ran for the door. The soul-eating lunatic cried out in surprise and pain. Blue ran for the cover of the woods and almost ran into Error as the destroyer came out of one of his glitchy portals. Oh, thank God! Blue cried. Please, get me out of here! Where's the thing that's eating everybody's souls? Error asked urgently. Some insane Sans, Blue told him. The sound of footsteps quickly approaches. Blue spun around in time to see the skeleton running towards them, an arrow in his hand like a knife. Run! Blue yelled. Error, being Error, grabbed Blue and pulled them both into the treetops. The skeleton slowed to a stop, searching for them on the ground, but Error had already swung away in his strings, Blue in tow, to look for Ink. Meanwhile, Ink was suffering the consequences of a portal malfunction. Great, he grumbled. Stuck in a wall while Blue is in danger. He sighed. At least no one unwanted will find him, since he was in quite the small room. Squid! The voice was far off, but unmistakable. Error? Ink called back. Where the fuck are you? Over here! Ink tried to push himself out of the wall again, to no effect. Where's Blue? Here! Blue's voice called. He was much closer than Error. How did you get stuck? Ink glanced at what little of himself he could see. Portal trouble. Blue peered around the corner. Yeah, Ink sighed. Not entirely sure how I managed it, but at least it's not a flower. Blue snickered. Error, I found him. Error, upon seeing Ink, laughed and said, well, this is an improvement. Shut up and get me out of here, Ink grumbled. Error and Blue, using teamwork, managed to free him from his solid wall prison. Right, Ink said, dusting himself off. Now that that's done, who was... Blue's amused expression faded into numb horror. I don't know, he said hoarsely. He just came out and... He trailed off, covering his mouth. Ink put a hand on Blue's shoulder. It'll be alright, Blue, Ink assured him. Did he get to the human yet? Blue shook his skull. No, Chara should be in Hotland by now, over by Grilby. Then we'll just have to kick this Soul Eater guy out and get Chara to reset, Ink asked. Right? Error, the experts on resets, frowned. How will everyone come back if an outcode destroyed their souls? He asked. Ink blinked. Huh? Error sighed. Of course. Come on. Let's go find this human, then we can keep him safe. Then we can... Thunk. A blue arrow of energy hit the wall behind Ink. A thin scratch went across the side of Ink's skull, where it grazed him. He's found us, Blue gasped. Oh no. 2 golden eyelights glared at them from the ledge above. Who are you? Ink demanded, brandishing Rumi. Why are you doing this? The skeleton said nothing, only launched himself at Ink. Ink jumped back and splattered him with paint, sticking him to the wall. The stranger didn't even struggle. He stared at Ink wide-eyed. You don't have a soul. How? Ink exhaled. Look, whoever you are, I'm sorry someone else got to my soul before you could, but could you please stop trying to eat my friends' souls? Or anyone else's? The stranger smiled. His teeth were coated in a very faint glowy substance. The other 3 stomachs lurched as they realised it was from the souls he'd eaten. Only 2, he admitted. It was so easy though. Even easier than those fuckers from the village. And they came straight to me. Village? Blue asked tentatively, the stranger's yellow gaze fixed on Blue. They reminded Blue far too much of Tiger's eyes. Pretty, but deadly once you were close enough to get a good look at them. Yes, village. Is that so strange? That my AU isn't your stereotypical story of an entire race being trapped underground by another? Blue looked away. Why are you eating people's souls? Error asked. Can't you eat something like chocolate? I can make tacos, Blue murmured. If, you want. So long as you don't eat my soul. The stranger chuckled. It quickly turned into a hysterical laughter. Can I? He laughed. No, I can't. I need souls. Nothing else will satisfy me. He suddenly stopped laughing. His eyelights slid away from them, looking at something near him that they couldn't see. He looked sad. Is that bad? He murmured to himself. That I can't bring myself to eat anything else? What the frick? Who is this guy? What kind of screwed up AU did he come from? Oh, for the love. Ink groaned and opened a portal to the source of the distress signal. The Soul Eater was now known as a menace to all AUs, and because of his lack of having a soul, literally everyone had voted Ink to be their saviour, because that was a wonderful idea. Ink appeared in a splash of goop to find his sort of psychic killer, already chucking knives at the Eater, while he was firing those weird arrows back. Now, you're probably wondering why Killer has been helping Ink with this. Easy, he doesn't have a soul either. Not a real one, at least. The Soul Eater tried to eat it once, but spat it out. Apparently, target-shamed souls don't taste very good. Ink equipped his brush and got into the battle stance. The Soul Eater snarled at him, can't you two just leave me alone? He said. Because you're insane, Killer growled. Which is a lot coming from me. You're hurting innocent people, eating souls is morally wrong, etc., etc. Ink ran through the abrasial hero spiel. Think I've heard most of it. Next. And so the fight began. Killer almost caught the Soul Eater, but he got away. Again. God damn it, Killer muttered. I'm getting real tired of this shit. Ink sighed. Me too. I was having fun doing nothing before this. Killer scoffed the ground with his shoe. What now? Do we go after him? Ink shrugged. Probably. They stood in silence. Hey, Killer said slowly. Don't you say that he refused to eat anything else other than souls? Ink tilted his skull to one side. Yes? What about it? What if, Killer said, putting his knife in his pocket. What if we could find a way to keep him from eating? We could get him to eat something else if we made him hungry enough. Ink rubbed his chin. That's not a bad idea. But what will we give to him? And how do we know he wouldn't try to eat our dusty remains? Meat? Killer suggested. Ink considered this. Okay, next problem. How do we keep him from eating? Tie him up, real tight. Throw him in NTAU? Ink blinked. Holy shit, we have a plan. Error waited for Ink and Killer to arrive in the empty Snowdon forest, feeling anxious. Why did he agree to this? Oh, right. Ink actually presented him with logic. God damn it. One time. We're here, Killer announced. Oh, good, Error sighed. Guess my ditching attempt will have to wait. How do you plan on getting this guy here anyway? Ink held up. No, Error said, turning pale. No way. It's the easiest way to get his attention, Ink said. You ever notice how he seems to know when someone's upset or happy? Killer poked Red's cheek. The Gadsans glared at him. He, and several other monsters from various values, were hogtied to a giant-ass stick that Ink somehow managed to hide until he brought his attention to it. Live bait, Killer said. These fuckers will act as one big angst generator, so hopefully he'll come running. If not, I have a backup plan. Error swallowed. Why do I feel like I'm the backup plan? Killer grinned. Ready, kids? Uncle Kills is about to summon fucking Satan. Raz and Swatfell Sands yelled. Ah, shut up, Killer said. You're not a sacrifice, just a lure. Ink, you mind taking down whatever shields you think you put up? Ink nodded and snapped his fingers. The foe monsters yelled muffled protests, but it was suddenly raining paint, indicating the barrier thing had dissolved. For a moment, there was silence. Then, from the trees, two golden yellow eyes illuminated the shadows. Holy shit, Killer muttered. It actually worked. But the Soul Eater didn't get any closer. He just glared at them, eyeing the free meal suspiciously. What do you want? He asked. Do you two think he's actually going to come running like a crazy animal? Error muttered to the heroes. No, Killer said. Yes, Ink said at the same time. Killer sighed. The Soul Eater turned his gaze onto Ink. Those yellow eyes were so piercing, they made even the soulless skeleton freeze in their tracks. And he knew it. Well, he said. His voice was rougher than it had been. Sounds almost like he'd just woken up. We're here to kick your ass, Killer said bluntly. He had no pretense of honour or righteousness. He was in this for the paycheck. And yes, he's getting paid for chocolate for all this. That's the only reason he's doing it, besides not wanting his friends' dust or horror to be eaten. The Soul Eater chuckled. Oh, I see. You thought you could catch me by luring me here with a bunch of souls. Hickman looked over at Error. And you would catch me with your strings, isn't that right? He laughed dryly. I'm not an idiot. That's unfortunate, Killer muttered. Why do I have to play the hero when the villain has more common sense and logic? The Soul Eater took a few steps forward. His arms were crossed, and he had an intense grin on his face. What a shame would it be if I somehow managed to get away? In a blur, he was suddenly over by Error, his hands outstretched to take his glitchy soul. Error leaped back and attacked, but the Soul Eater dodged. Do you think I could get away with a measly snack? The Eater asked innocently. He leapt for Error again, being extremely careful to avoid the strings. Ink joined the fight, slashing the air with the brush and sending paint flying at the crazy skeleton, but the Eater kept out of the line of fire. Why do I always have to be the logical one? Killer grumbled. He opened the portal, untied the fell monsters and let them escape. I want to kill this little shit, not making sure the bait gets home. With that, he launched himself into the fray. After dodging a few more attacks, the Eater noticed that a large source of food had vanished. He hissed in outrage. Clever, he snarled. His yellow eyelids were small and angry. Very clever. With that, he ran. A portal opened in front of him and closed behind him as he escaped. Hurry, Ink said. We can't let him go far. You're going after that guy? Error wheezed incredulously. Yes, Killer said, not wanting Error to follow him or Ink through the portal the artist painted on the ground. I'm not coming with you, the glitchy yelled after him, but they were both gone. Damn wannabe heroes, Error grumbled. I'm so glad I'm the bad guy, even the lesser one. Ink and Killer chased the Soul Eater through multiple AUs. Each time they managed to stop him before he ate anyone's soul, although it came close. The Eater was getting frustrated. Finally, they had him cornered in an abandoned grillbees in an end AU. He was exhausted and hungry, and he'd already used up all his magic. He couldn't escape. You're not eating anyone's souls, Ink growled. Ever. Come quietly and we'll leave you with something meaty, Killer said. Put up a fight and we'll have to feed you broccoli. The Soul Eater's eyes lights darted around, looking for an escape, but there was none. He looked scared. There's nowhere to run, Ink reminded him. He raised the paintbrush. The Killer backed away from him, his back hitting the wall. No! Ink brought his brush down. The Eater ducked, and the paint hit the wall. Ink was too short for him to run under, so he just pressed himself against the wall. Killer sighed. It's either paint or handcuffs, he said. The Eater gulped. Then he did something strange. He started crying. Nighty, he said through tears. Nighty, where are you? Killer and Ink glanced at each other. Who's Nighty? Ink asked. Nightmare? He cried again, his voice rising. Night, don't leave me, please, come back. Hey, Ink awkwardly said. Please don't cry. Killer realised this must have been how Error felt when he first kidnapped Blue. This was awkward as hell, especially since they were supposed to be the good guys for this. The Eater's eyes locked in the air next to him. Then he hugged the air, like someone they couldn't see had appeared out of nowhere. He looked to be sobbing in someone's shoulder. Ink glanced at Killer. Killer shrugged helplessly. Hey, Ink said, realising that he didn't know the Eater's name. Who's Nightmare? The Eater ignored him. His mind was further gone than they thought. I guess it'll have to be Asylum Tale, Killer muttered. Ink nodded, not taking his eyes off the skeleton. His stomach groaned. He groaned with it. He was so hungry, but these people wouldn't give him a soul. And anyone who came stayed near the door, but he couldn't reach them thanks to the chain around his ankle. He tried to break it plenty of times, but no avail. They often left vegetables or fruits or lumps of cooked meat, but you couldn't eat them. He'd try, he really had. It always came up. The people here were trying to find something he would eat, but so far, all he'd been able to hold down is water. Why can't they just give him souls? It's not like there weren't people who nobody would miss. And another thing, he didn't deserve to be in this AU. It was a giant asylum. He wasn't crazy. He wasn't. Just because he was the only one who could see his brother didn't mean he wasn't there. Just because eating souls was exactly a healthy lifestyle doesn't mean he was crazy. It was just what it was. Why couldn't these people understand that? Ink and Killer especially. Any news? Ink asked. Silent Hill's resident doctor sighed and looked over her clipboard. A lot, but not enough. He believes he sees the ghost of someone named Nightmare, whom he affectionately refers to as Night or Nighty. If I had to guess, they were friends. He also has a very obvious addiction to souls. He physically can't eat anything else. The doctor shook her head. As to the reason how he started eating souls, or why he sees this nightmare, or even what his name is, we still don't know. He didn't interact with any of our personnel except trying to tear their souls from their bodies. Ink rubbed his foreskull. Great. Any chance that he might eat if we tell him something's made of souls? The doctor shrugged. Voluntarily? Very likely. But it's more likely that his stomach can't handle anything else. It happens to a lot of people who get addicted to exotic foods. Ink shuddered. He knew that she didn't mean bugs or monkey meat. Is it worth a try? The doctor thought. Well, we'll have to do something, so at least it tastes different. Maybe we can use some human soul flavour substitute? Ink blinked. Wait, what? I thought that was a joke. No, the doctor said. It's legit. It tastes weird, let me tell you. Tastes like bacon, Killer said, appearing out of nowhere. Bacon that went bad yesterday and was still fried on the stove in its own rancid bacon grease. You've eaten that stuff? Ink asked. There's hardly anything interesting in my AU, Killer reminded him. Variety is the spice of life, and human soul flavour substitute is not one of the good ones, trust me. The doctor stared at him. Try to put me in one of these cells and I'll stab you. The doctor quickly looked away. Right, yeah. HSFS. We'll try it. Cool. Ink opened the portal to go back to wherever he was doing before. Call us when you get some results, okay? Later. With that, he was gone. The doc blinked, then sighed. Her day was going to be crazy no matter what. This new stranger didn't bother her too much. Hey, wake up. He scrunched up his face and turned away from the voice. I'm tired, he complained, not opening his eye sockets. We have food, the doctor said. He groaned and turned back. He eyed the plate of what he was pretty sure was beef inside a weird yellowish shell thing with cheese. What is that? He asked. It smelled really good. It's a taco, the doctor said, surprised. Have you ever seen one before? He shook his skull. The doctor sighed. Alright, well, it's spiced ground beef and a crunchy tortilla shell. Cheese and usually lettuce and sour cream and things like that. We decided to keep it basic. He took the plate and sniffed it. It smelled good, but it had a strange underlying sense of something familiar. What else is in this? He asked suspiciously. Human soul, the doctor said calmly. The skeleton narrowed his eye sockets at her. You are lying. The doctor was surprised at the certainty in his tone, but didn't outright show it. But he knew. What did you actually put in it? The doctor sighed. HSFS. The skeleton blinked. HS what? The woman chuckled. MTT brand always. Convenient human soul flavoured substitute. Thought you might be able to stomach it, some foods, if it tastes like what you usually eat. He let out a short laugh. Oh, I honestly thought it stood for something like harpy sauced feather sauce. The doctor smiled at him, but he sensed the uncertainty in her. She still thought he was crazy. Are you going to eat it? His brother's ghost floated next to him. Even I can smell it, the shade said appreciatively. Yeah, he murmured to Nightmare. I will. He realised he didn't know how to eat a taco. The doctor realised his problem. He could see the human trying to devise a way to solve it in not a non-awkward manner. He glanced at Nightmare. The shade shrugged and pretended to pick it up the way that it looked right. He tried it. The doctor stopped trying to brain, telling him that he'd done it right. It tasted good. He actually really liked it. But after a couple of bites, his stomach rejected the food. The bucket from before, which had been emptied and washed, was put to use again. The doctor sighed. I'm sorry that didn't sit well with you either. The woman picked up the plate, which had fallen to the floor. She was within striking distance, but he was too woozy from puking to attack. Why can't I just have real souls? He rasped. The doctor didn't answer. They still think you're crazy, Nightmare said, giving the man a look of contempt. I'm not crazy, he said hotly. His stomach growled again. I'll send someone down to clean this up, the woman said softly. Oh, and Ink would like to talk to you later. With that, she left. He set the bucket on the floor and curled up. I dare you to puke in front of the door for whoever comes next, Nightmare snickered. Yeah, but that will smell gross. I'd rather have it smell like despair than sickness. The shade rolled his purple eyelights at him. You're no fun, he sighed. Fine. Want to play a game? Ink walked to the door. Its number was 1111, 11th room, 11th building. He found it strange that the Soul Eater was in this particular room. But who cares? Not him. He knocked. The voice from his side cut itself off. Then, fuck off. Ink chuckled and opened the door. Afraid I can't, bud. It's not that I don't like how it tastes, the crazy skeleton said. I do like it. They make really good food. Ink raised a bone brow at him. I just can't handle anything else, he continued. But I'm so hungry. Ink leaned against the closed door. I'm sorry to hear that, he said. Is there anything you haven't tried yet? The Eater shook his skull. Why do you pretend to care? He asked. I'm sorry? Ink stuttered, caught off guard. Those predatory yellow eyes seemed to pierce him. You can't feel any emotions, he said. You don't care, and you couldn't if you tried. So why do you pretend? He sounded confused. Doesn't that take more energy? Ink didn't answer for a second. Sometimes, he admitted. His voice was quiet. But it's not about making others believe I care. It's about feeling normal. I miss my emotions, and my vials can only do so much. He pulled out the green one and turned it over in his hands. Even with the simulated happiness and anger and everything else, they don't really help me care. He gave the Eater a weary smile. So really, I'm the only one. I only care because people keep telling me I have to be the hero, and because I'm really curious about you. I've never met anyone like you, so I want to know your story. The Eater was quiet. Ink sighed and stood up. Welp, if you're not going to talk, I'll just leave. Dream. Ink stopped, his hands hovering over the doorknob. Sorry? The Soul Eater's lights were almost friendly. My name? It's Dream. Ink grinned. Dream, huh? That's funny. See ya, Dream. So hungry. Unbearably hungry. Dream wondered how long it had been since he'd last eaten. A week? A few days? He didn't even know. But he was so damn hungry. Maybe they'd bring him some souls soon. Ha, yeah, right. He saw what they were trying to do. They were trying to starve him. They were angry. They were angry at him that he kept Nightmare away from them. He knew they couldn't just kill him, so he went with their next best option. Bitches. He did trust Ink, though. Ink had no idea. He didn't know Nightmare. He doubted he can convince Ink to bring him souls, though. Wait, he felt it. There was a soul nearby. A soul he could eat. Are you sure? He asked. The doctor nodded. It's better than nothing. How pretty, but... The nurse sighed. Alright, I'll call the hospitals and tell them to bring us some feeding tubes. It was strange. Thanks, the woman said. For now, I'll go tell him that he's going to have some unfamiliar visitors. This soul pulsated with familiar energy. The walk from the front desk to a patient's room was long, but the doctor set at a rest pace. He couldn't place where he'd felt this kind of magic before, but it didn't matter. Soon, she was at the 11th building. Are you sure? The ghost asked. This isn't the only way. Yes. Nightmare smiled sadly. Alright. See you on the other side. She opened the door. Dream ignored her. She wasn't going to stop him. He ate the yellow, glowing apple in one bite. Then everything went black.